Continuing through system preferences, we've already talked about QuickTime, and all of the other internet and network preferences we will talk about when we talk about networking. We'll talk about accounts, parental controls when we talk about security. So let's look at a few of the items down here in the system level that you can control. First is the date and time, and as you can see, in many cases there will be a clock in the menu bar. You can decide whether or not you want to show it there. You can set the date and time automatically, and if you have a network connection, it's usually easiest, unless it's a dial-up connection. If you have an always-on connection, then set the date and time from a time server that Apple provides. And that means that the date and time will always be correct. You do have to set the time zone because the time server is just giving the time where it is located, or actually it's universal time here, which used to be called Greenwich Mean Time, but you do have to then decide where you're going to apply the time zone to it. The clock can be in the menu bar. It can tell you what the time is. You have various options here. Those are the time settings. As I said, unless it's a dial-up connection, using network time is the easiest to do, and you don't have to worry about daylight savings time. Now, if you don't have an always-on connection, so you don't want to use network time, there is a time setting. You can set it here, and there's a battery in the computer that will keep that time running. If you don't have the time set over the network connection and you notice that the time is substantially off, it may have been accidentally reset, but if it seems to be substantially off twice, let's say, after you've reset the time to the correct time, there may be a problem with the internal battery. So those are your date and time settings, and it's important that they be correct because lots of software on your computer, and hardware too, depend on knowing what the current time is. It's really important because your computer needs to be able to know whether a certain event happened before or after another event. A case in point is Time Machine, which is new in Leopard. What Time Machine does is to let you back up constantly to a large high-speed disk connected to your computer. Now, I'm running, and a lot of people I know are using a 500 gigabyte external disk with a very fast connection like FireWire 2. This has a lot of space on it, and as you can see, Time Machine is giving me hourly backups for the last 24 hours, dailies for the last month, and then until the backup disk is full, weekly backups. And at some point before the disk is full, what you can do is go in there and archive some of the weekly backups to a DVD perhaps. Or you can take out some interleaved backups. So you can say you've got weekly backups until the disk is full, but what you might want to do is say, okay, I'll take out 3 out of every 4 so I have a monthly image going back, let's say, 2 or 3 years. The options are that you can control what is to be backed up and what is not to be backed up. You can also choose what disk is to be used. Now, I'm going to mount the disk that's used for Time Machine now, and I can see that it's being mounted now. And I will be able to choose what disk it is that I want to use for my backups. It must be an external disk. And these are the choices that I have right now. I would be able to see other devices if they were present. Now, somewhat related to Time Machine keeps backups of what you've got on your computer. Software Update helps you get new files for your computer, specifically updates to the operating system and some of the Apple applications. And Software Update can be controlled from the preferences. Normally, you have these default settings, and it will check for updates, and you get this sort of window as it's checking for updates on, for example, a weekly basis. And depending on what is installed on your computer and what is available for the computer, you will be told whether or not there are changes that can be downloaded, and you can then choose to install them then or not to install them then. And you will get some description of what the updates are and how critical they are, because sometimes they are very serious security issues that need to be patched right away. Others are optional issues. An update to the operating system is different, by the way, than an upgrade to the operating system, because with Leopard we're running Mac OS X version 10.5. 10.5.1, 10.5.2, and so forth will be downloaded through software update. But 10.6, when it comes along, will be a new product that you would have to purchase. So we've finished, or coming close to finishing, checking for the software update to see if there is new software available. You can also see what has been installed here through software update. So you can schedule it and look at what's been installed. In this case, there's nothing to be done. You don't really have to go to software update in preferences, because once you've set it, you will be notified when there is software that's been downloaded that needs to be installed.